The moment my mother volunteered me to babysit 5 children over Christmas without asking, I knew something inside me was about to break. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly. The kind of break that doesn't make noise, but changes everything. My name is Claire. I'm 35. I don't have kids. I live alone. I work hard. And apparently in my family, that makes me the automatic solution to everyone else's problems. It happened on a family video call in early December. You know the kind. Forced smiles, fake excitement, everyone pretending the holidays are magical, while secretly calculating how much stress is coming. I was still in pajamas, holding coffee, half awake. That's when my mom cleared her throat and said casually, like she was announcing the weather, "So Claire's staying home with the kids over Christmas." Not asking, not suggesting, announcing. At first, I actually laughed. 5 kids. My brother's 3, all under 8. And my cousin's twin toddlers who scream like it's a competitive sport. "Wait, what?" I said. My mom smiled. That tight smile. The one that means she already decided. "It'll be good for you. You don't have children, and everyone else deserves a break. Everyone else deserves a break. Except me." That was the exact moment I realized this wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a plan. They had already discussed it, already arranged it, already thanked me in conversations I wasn't part of. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, overnights, while they ate, drank, opened gifts, posted family photos, and I'd be home managing tantrums and diapers. Again, because this wasn't new. When I was 26, I skipped a New Year's trip because they needed help. At 30, I cleaned up wrapping paper and spilled juice while everyone toasted champagne. I was the responsible one, the independent one, the flexible one. Translation, the convenient one. I calmly reminded my mom I had already requested vacation from work. I had plans. She waved it off. "You can travel anytime. Family comes first. Family comes first." That phrase is dangerous. It sounds loving, but sometimes it really means you come last. Over the next week, the messages started rolling in. "You're a lifesaver. We owe you." It'll mean so much. Not one person asked if I agreed. They spoke like it was legally binding. 3 days before Christmas, I got the final message in the group chat. "Kids will be dropped at Claire's place Christmas Eve morning. Thank you again." No question mark. No pause. Just assumption. I stared at my phone for a long time, and something shifted. Not guilt. Not fear. Anger. Sharp, clean, clear. That night, I opened my laptop. I didn't cry. I didn't call anyone. I didn't argue. I searched for the earliest flight leaving on Christmas Eve. One way. Window seat. I hovered over the confirm button for maybe 5 seconds, and then I clicked it. The second the confirmation email came through, I felt lighter, not rebellious. Free. On Christmas Eve morning, while my mother was probably labeling snack bags and texting reminders, I was walking through airport security. My phone was buzzing in my purse. I didn't check. For once, I chose silence. When the plane lifted off, I looked out the window and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. I landed in a small coastal city. Nothing fancy, just quiet. Checked into a hotel. Ordered room service. Sat on the bed in complete silence. No cartoons playing. No screaming. No, can you just me. And I laughed. I thought that was the end of it. Just a quiet escape. But that evening, my phone rang. Family group video call. Before I could think, I answered. And that's when everything changed. The screen filled with faces. My mom looked furious. "Where are you?" she demanded. "I told you I had plans," I said calmly. The tension was thick. The kids were already whining in the background. Then my aunt said something strange. "Well, since we're all here, I guess I should read this." She held up a piece of paper. My stomach dropped. I recognized it immediately. It was a letter from my grandmother. She had mailed it weeks ago, asking my aunt to read it to the family on Christmas if she couldn't be there herself. The room went quiet, and as my aunt started reading, the smiles disappeared. Halfway through, my brother whispered, "Wait, what?" My mother's face turned pale. Someone muttered, "This can't be real." I was sitting alone in a hotel room hundreds of miles away, watching the entire power dynamic of my family begin to crack, and I hadn't even known it was coming. That letter wasn't just about Christmas, and what my grandmother wrote next, it changed everything. When my aunt continued reading, her voice wasn't steady anymore. It had that slight tremble people get when they realize they're holding something explosive. My health has forced me to think. carefully about what I'm leaving behind, she read. Not just financially, but emotionally. No one moved. You could actually feel the tension through the screen. She went on. I have watched quietly for years. I have seen who gives without being asked, and I have seen who takes without gratitude. My brother shifted in his seat. My mom crossed her arms. I didn't breathe. I have also seen how Claire has been expected to carry what others would not. The silence thickened. The kids were ushered out of the room. Then came the line that made everyone stop pretending. I have created a private trust. It is already active. Claire is the sole controller. My sister blinked. What does that mean? My aunt swallowed and kept reading. It means that certain properties and investment accounts will be overseen by Claire immediately, not after my passing, now. The room erupted. What? That's ridiculous. Why wasn't I told? My mom leaned toward the camera. This is emotional manipulation. But my aunt wasn't finished. There are conditions, she said softly, and this is where everything flipped. If any family member pressures, threatens, or attempts to guilt Claire regarding her time, money, or personal choices, they forfeit eligibility to receive future distributions tied to shared family assets. Silence. The irony was almost poetic. They had just spent 3 weeks pressuring me to babysit. On a recorded video call, my cousin's face drained of color. Is that legal? It's notarized, my aunt replied. My mom looked straight at me. So this is why you ran away? I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even know about the trust. That was the truth. The letter kept going. My grandmother wrote about patterns, about sacrifice being labeled, strength, about independence being weaponized against the person who had it. She wrote that love should never require someone to disappear. She wrote that boundaries are not betrayals. And then she ended it with something I will never forget. I am not rewarding Claire. I am correcting an imbalance. No one had anything to say to that. My brother muttered something about fairness. My sister accused me of ruining Christmas. My mom said, so you think you're better than us now? That used to scare me, being seen as the villain. This time, it didn't land. No, I said calmly. I just stopped volunteering to be the unpaid solution. That's when everything cracked open. Because here's what people don't expect when the quiet one stops complying. They panic. My sister's tone changed first, softer, calculating. So, what does this mean exactly? Are you managing the lake house? Yes. And the rental properties? Yes. And the investment portfolio? Yes. Her next question wasn't about Christmas. It was about money. And that's when I understood something clearly. This was never about family bonding. It was about access. Access to my time, access to my labor, access to whatever was easiest to take. My aunt finally stepped in. This didn't start today, she said quietly. It just became visible today. The call ended abruptly. No goodbye, just a black screen and my own reflection staring back at me. I expected guilt to rush in. It didn't. Instead, I felt steady, grounded, like I had stepped out of a fog I didn't know I was living in. Over the next few days, the messages came in waves. Angry ones, passive-aggressive ones, overly sweet ones. My mom went silent. My brother sent a long paragraph about family unity. My sister tested the waters 2 weeks later. Hey, since you're handling everything now, could you help us out a little this month? Things are tight. There it was, not an apology, a request. I typed one word. No. And for the first time in my life, it didn't feel cruel. It felt clean. Here's the part nobody tells you about setting boundaries. At first it feels like loss, like standing outside in the cold after closing a door you were trained to keep open. There were nights I wondered if I had overreacted, if boarding that plane was dramatic, if staying home would have been easier. But then I remembered something important. Easy for who? Not for me. I started therapy in January, not because I was broken, but because I was tired of being the emotional safety net. I learned that being the strong one often just means no one checks if you're tired. I traveled more that year than I had in the previous 5 combined. I stopped over-explaining, stopped softening my no, and something interesting happened. The family dynamic adjusted, slowly, reluctantly, but it adjusted. Because once you remove yourself as the default solution, people are forced to solve their own problems. Months later, my aunt visited me. We sat on my couch drinking tea. She admitted she was scared to read the letter out loud. But they needed to hear it, she said. And you needed to leave. She was right. That flight wasn't just a getaway, it was a statement. Not a loud one, not dramatic, just just firm. I will not abandon myself to keep everyone else comfortable. And here's the wild part. After the dust settled, some relationships improved, not because I gave more, but because I gave less. Less access. Less automatic, yes. More respect. Because boundaries teach people how to treat you. Now, when I think back to that moment, my mom announcing my holiday like it was already assigned, I don't feel rage. I feel clarity. I'm grateful I listened to that quiet voice that said, enough. If you've ever been the reliable one, the flexible one, the one who doesn't mind, ask yourself something honestly. When was the last time someone asked what you wanted? Sometimes the bravest move isn't confronting people. It's boarding the plane and choosing yourself. Tell me, would you have stayed? Or would you have packed your bags too? 1 year later, Christmas looked very different. No group announcement, no assumptions, no surprise drop-offs. My phone rang a week before the holidays. It was my mom. Her voice wasn't sharp this time. It wasn't demanding. It was careful. We're planning Christmas dinner, she said. If you're free, we'd love for you to come. If you're free. 4 simple words, but they felt bigger than the trust, bigger than the argument, bigger than that plane ticket. I didn't answer right away, not because I was afraid, because I finally had a choice. I'll think about it, I said. And I meant it. That Christmas, I didn't babysit. I didn't manage chaos. I showed up for dinner as a guest. I left when I wanted. No guilt, no pressure. Respect doesn't arrive loudly. Sometimes it comes quietly, after you prove you're willing to walk away. And that was the real gift I gave myself, not the money, not the independence, the boundary, and I've kept it ever since.